Hello, and welcome to the ChaosMole Reacts episode updates on the Xbox business. This one will be a little bit drier. There's no gameplay here or anything, I assume, and this is just Xbox talking about the future of, well, their business. As you can see, this is not a live stream. They pre-recorded this and just put up the video, so there's no live reaction. We will watch the whole 22 minutes, so lean back and let's see what they have to say. I personally don't expect too much crazy stuff here besides of, hey, we are going completely third party with some of our titles, and people will be like, what? Who could have seen that coming? And it's like, everyone, because they have been talking about this for years and people are still talking about it like it's something completely new. But with that said, let's watch the thing. But it's still something big if they have all three big head honchos here. Yes.
I'm your host, Tina Amini, and we have a very special episode today, as you can probably tell by the fact that I'm joined by Phil, Sarah, and Matt. Welcome.
Yeah, the three head honchos.
Talk about some updates at Xbox. We want to talk about game exclusivity. We want to talk about Activision Blizzard now that they're part of our portfolio, how that might be an impact on Game Pass. And we want to talk about hardware too and how all of this fits into the strategy at Xbox. So where should we start, Phil?
Well, when we originally had planned for the show, starting back in December.
There we go.
I think we probably would have started with Activision Blizzard, maybe talked a little bit about the exclusivity with some of the news coming up, and then hardware. But we've had some unforeseen news that has come out. So let's just go and tackle the exclusivity question.
Yes.
Because I know it's on the minds of a lot of people. We hear from the community.
Everyone wants to hear this, and everyone's probably just searching on YouTube.
Made the decision that we're going to take 4 games to the other consoles. Just 4 games. Not a change to our kind of
just
fundamental exclusive strategy.
4 games out of 5 games we have.
For some specific reasons. We make every decision really with the long-term health of Xbox in mind.
Here's the thing, and yes, I'm interrupting in. I know it's rude, but this is something I saw coming, and a lot of people saw coming. It's like, yes, Starfield apparently didn't sell as hot water as they wanted it to be, right? Hi-Fi Rush is such a non-Xbox games they probably would like to see on different platforms. I can already see which 4 games he is talking about, which would be Starfield, Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, which makes sense because it's a live service game, right? And the 4th one would be Indiana Jones, maybe? I don't know. Let's see.
Long-term health of Xbox means a growing platform, our games performing, building the best platform for creators, reaching as many players as we can. We're always looking to learn as a leadership team.
And making more money for our shareholders at Microsoft.
Point in time for us to use what some of the other platforms have right now to help grow our franchises. So we're going to do that.
So these 4 titles, what are they? Can you say?
I'm not going to name those games. The teams that are building those games have announced plans that are not too far away. As we know, game teams put a lot of energy into their announcements with the partners. So I don't want to take anything away from those teams. So I won't be talking about the titles specifically.
We basically know which one.
It'll make sense.
Can we say if either of those titles are Starfield or Indiana Jones?
They are not Starfield or Indiana Jones.
Well, what was the criteria and how the team was
then I was wrong.
Selecting those 4 titles?
Let me start a little bit outside of that, and then I'll get to the 4 specific games that we're talking about right now. Because the fundamental decision driver for any decision that we make, anything we're going to talk about today, is the long-term health of Xbox. That we're running a growing platform that is reaching more players, that our games are having as much success as possible.
And then showing Starfield.
Over the next 5 or
oh my God, Halo.
Exclusive games that are exclusive to one piece of hardware, are going to be a smaller and smaller part of the game industry. And that's not some great insight, because if you look at the last 10 years and what the biggest games are today, it's a natural place.
I mean, that this is still, like, even Sony is doing it, right? We talked about this, how Sony wants to, especially now with Helldivers 2 doing as fantastically as it does on the PC, they're just like, oh my God, why haven't we done this before? What have we missed out on? A lot of money is the answer. And I know there are some die-hard console fans which are like, no, I don't want the... You a dying breed. Get used to it. Like seriously, like exclusives are in the way of making money. And well, Xbox has been knowing this for a decade and has been working diligently that way. And PlayStation started about, what, 3-4 years ago to go on the same path. And at some point, maybe in 10-20 years, Nintendo might even do the same thing. So get used to it. And it's good for the
Whether it's
consumer.
one
It's good for the
console and
gamer.
PC, multiple consoles, mobile console and PC, you see big games landing on multiple platforms.
Yeah.
And we want to be a great platform for creators that are trying to realize that potential. But now back to the specifics of the question on these four specific titles. We looked at games that are over a year old. So they've been on Xbox and PC for a while.
Okay, makes sense.
A couple of the games are community-driven games, new games that kind of
Sea of
first
Thieves.
iterations of a franchise that have reached their full potential, I'd say, on Xbox and PC. There's always growth. Franchises that we obviously want to continue to invest in.
Basically games who have
Part of
trailed
having
off.
the ability to continue to invest is that the businesses behind those franchises continue. We think it's important that these service-based games that have communities behind them, that they can have confidence that they're going to exist in the future. So 2 of them, kind of community-driven games that will end up on other platforms and give us the ability to
Sea of Thieves
invest in them. That's
and
great for the business and great for the communities. More
what
players
else?
to play with. I'd say 2 of the other games are smaller games that
Hi-Fi
were
Rush.
never really meant to be built as kind of platform exclusives and all the fanfare that goes around that. But games that our teams really wanted to go build, that we love supporting creative endeavors across our studios, regardless of size.
Oh, I know which one.
And
is Grounded? Is Grounded on PlayStation? Can somebody check very quickly? I don't think Grounded is on PlayStation. But it would make sense, wouldn't it?
as they've realized their full potential on Xbox and PC, we see an opportunity to utilize the other platforms as a place to just drive more business value out of those games, allowing us to invest in maybe future iterations of those, so sequels to those, or just other games like that in our portfolio. And when we don't damage Xbox and we can grow our business using what other platforms have and to help us with that, we're going to do that. And that's really the story behind these four games.
Grounded is
Last
PC
thing
and
I'll say,
Xbox.
looking
Thank you,
forward,
Jed.
you know, I think there
sense.
is an interesting story for us of introducing Xbox
That's what I
franchises
remembered.
to players on other platforms to get them more interested.
And it
in
would
Xbox.
fit
We
perfectly
think
on
there's
Switch as well.
A good brand value for Xbox there. So 4 games, no promise beyond that. So if you're on those other platforms and you see these 4 games coming, please don't take it as some signal that everything's coming. It's not. And we're going to learn.
So when you are thinking about the future and this concept of live service games, games that can benefit from bigger audiences, new audiences, how does that apply to future titles and how you're applying that criteria there?
Yeah, there's really no fundamental change to how we think about exclusivity. We just came out of Developer Direct, which was an awesome show, where we showed great games that are coming to Xbox and PC and cloud, which really makes them accessible to hundreds of millions of people. So it's this kind of, we're really focused on a couple platforms and what's going to show up there. But our key of play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, when everybody plays, we all win. These have been part of our strategy for years and will continue to be. Our focus is on how do we continue to grow the games industry by reaching more.
So
players
basically
in more
continuing
places,
like
and how
they
do we
always
grow
have.
Xbox as part of that.
Continued.
Xbox is a hardware platform. Xbox is a publisher of great games, and Xbox as a platform for the world's best creators.
And then knowing that, how do we think about our first-party games and Game Pass?
Yeah, well, to build on what Phil just said, one thing I would add, as you were talking about growth, is just that we've sort of seen this inversion over the last 5 years where it used to be that the platform was the biggest thing.
That's right.
And the games would sort of tuck in within the platform. Today, big games like a Roblox or a Fortnite could actually be bigger than any one platform.
I mean, it's kind of hilarious when you see the success of Palworld on Xbox and PC, and it's not available on PlayStation and all that, and how big that game just became without being too platform specific. But Xbox has been pushing this for years and years now, and it seems like nothing really changes on their strategy, and people still pretend like, oh, where is this coming from? It's like, no, I've been doing this for years now. And now PlayStation is starting to do it. And people are like, oh my God, PlayStation has figured it out. I was like, what? What do you mean what PlayStation has figured? What? It's like, yeah, duh.
And that really has changed the way
Sorry
we
for the
think about
interruptions
things.
here.
So in the midst of
Just
all
giving
that,
my thoughts.
I think we at First Party can come back
Don't
to
want
sort
to
of
talk
some
over
core
it.
principles. First, that all of our games will be on the Xbox platform. Second, all of our games will go into Game Pass on day one. And third, we know that Game Pass will only be available on Xbox. So there's sort of starting points for us. As Phil mentioned, there are
Quick throw in here. Only available on Xbox. Only available on their Xbox ecosystem. Which basically means, and they have said it before, if Nintendo... so this is something I can tell you from a Mixer perspective. As you know, I've been a partner on Mixer. I've been streaming on Mixer for 6 years or so. And when they try to bring Mixer to consoles, PlayStation and Switch in particular, one of the biggest issues was that Microsoft also tried to push Xbox on those platforms, right? Because if you wanted to log into Mixer, you needed an Xbox account. And so especially Sony was like, what? No? You are not like asking our PlayStation members to log into Xbox on our console. Like, no, we don't want your shitty streaming platform. Piss off. Like, that they were so adamant about this. Yeah, you have to take our Xbox platform with you. That was also like one of the neck breakers for Mixer. And the same thing, when they say Game Pass is only available on Xbox, what they mean is only available on the Xbox ecosystem, wherever that Xbox ecosystem might be. If at some point Nintendo or PlayStation is saying, yeah, we're allowing that, which, let's be honest, it would never happen, especially with PlayStation having his own Game Pass and working on his own Game Pass diligently, makes sense what he is saying here.
There are games today that you can play that only can be found on Xbox. And at the same time, we want to bring more of our games to more players. So we're going to continue to look at that. Kind of moving aside, though, from some of those and thinking more about what does it really mean for the player, to me, the two key things are cross-play and cross-save. Those things allow us to deliver on the promise of Xbox, which is play with your friends where they are.
I mean, look at cross-play.
Play the game.
How long it took
that is really
to make
only
cross-play a reality.
When you know that your saves and your player are going to be able to move
and it's still in the air sometimes.
Not all of our games today are necessarily built to take advantage of that. There still will be some games that don't. As we bring more teams into the Xbox family, there's some catch up to do as we get there. But that cross-play, cross-save is like so fundamental to what we're doing, and I think is something that we as First Party get such a good benefit from being so close to the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things, like you said, all of our games are always in Game Pass. And so I'm excited to announce, with the coming together that we had with Activision Blizzard King, that Activision and Blizzard games are coming to Game Pass, starting with Diablo 4 on March 28th, which I'm super, super excited to share today.
Yay!
And it's all part of our commitment to make Xbox, the Xbox experience, and the games that we build.
You can now play this mediocre, totally overpriced microtransaction bullshit game starting in March on Game Pass. By the way, next week is the release of Last Epoch, just saying.
As widely available as possible. So now the 34 million Game Pass members can all enjoy the fantastic experience of Diablo 4.
43?
Can you come back to the point, Phil, you mentioned at the top, this isn't really a change in strategy for us. Can you recap for me how it isn't?
Yeah.
No, it isn't.
And I thought both Matt and Sarah did a really nice job of...
Like, that's the thing. How do you have to recap this? I get it. Like, okay, I actually get it. Sorry that I said it. That was dumb of me. They have to recap it because people still haven't, like, realized it. I kid you not. I have friends who I literally was like, yeah, Xbox Showcase is happening this evening. You gonna watch it? Why would I watch that? Because of the games? But it's the Xbox showcase. Why would I watch the Xbox showcase? I don't have an Xbox. I only have a PC. What? And that wasn't 5 years ago. That was a few months ago. People still haven't realized that Xbox, like the general population, who are not like hardcore gamers who are keeping up with all the news, watching all the videos, and believe me, that's a majority. They have never really gotten the idea of the change
talking
of
about what we're doing
marketing
at
Xbox
where
and what
going.
Xbox means.
You know, if you take a platform feature like Xbox Play Anywhere, which has been a promise that we've made on our first-party games, that you can buy our game once, you're going to get play across Xbox and Windows. I think we're the only platform that does this. That makes it possible for you not only to play with your friends wherever they are, but to know that you actually have multiple entitlements to the games. I think that's a technology I'd love to see applied to more platforms. But it is this view that people are going to play Xbox in multiple places. Whether it's play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, whether it's content, community, and cloud, whether it's when
as long as you have internet.
Like we've had different taglines, different strategies.
If you don't have internet, play Xbox 360.
That we've used, but always with this view that Xbox is a platform for creators who want to reach the most players. Our investments in xCloud, our investments in franchises like Minecraft and now Call of Duty and other large franchises, so that we learn how to build those.
Sorry for the interruption again. This will happen quite a bit. They really have to do better with the marketing on this. Like, they are so, especially outside of the US, they are so mediocre to push the whole idea that this is Xbox, right? Helldivers does a pretty good job actually already. I don't know how Sony is doing it, because I assume that PlayStation has just the bigger stopping power because it's PlayStation. But everyone is aware that Helldivers is a PlayStation first-party title, and it's treated as such. Like, Xbox has to hammer it more home that you are playing an Xbox title, not on Xbox.
This has been a strategy that we've been on for, I'd say, a decade. It's not about one device. It's not about games in service of a device, but rather the devices that people want to play on should be in service of making the games as big and popular as they possibly could be. Because really, a healthy creator community on Xbox, a healthy creator community in gaming all up, is the thing that all of us as game players should be voting for, because that's the thing that will lead to the best long-term success and growth in this industry.
And my understanding, just from listening and learning from you three over the past few weeks, just understanding what's happening with Xbox, is that we see trends in player behavior where people are playing on multiple devices. That is the reality.
General gamers do not watch this.
We have put some games out on multiple platforms before. So my understanding is that that's been good for players. How does that come back to the business with all of that in mind?
Yeah, as you said, we have shipped games on other platforms. In fact, realistically, if you look with the addition of Activision and Blizzard and ZeniMax, we're one of the largest game publishers on PlayStation. We're one of the largest publishers on the Nintendo Switch, especially when you put...
Yeah, it's kind of funny, right? Like, people are like, oh no, don't go third party. People were so panicking about all of this. And if you're just looking at all the games which also came out on PlayStation, like Call of Duty will still come out every year for PlayStation, and is even coming to Switch if applicable and all that. And that the same goes for the rest of the game. Starfield was the only game that year which didn't came out for PlayStation, which, by the way, let's not forget, one of the reasons why Xbox bought Bethesda was because Starfield was apparently going the exclusivity route of PlayStation. But so far, I think Xbox is actually the console which was always open to some third-partiness. I would never forget where Microsoft bought Minecraft, right? And the first thing PlayStation did was calling Phil Spencer over the hotline, so to speak, and was like, hey, are you gonna remove Minecraft now from PlayStation? And Microsoft was like, bitch, what? No? Why would we do this? And the more you think about it, the more it's like, yeah, because PlayStation would have done it. Like, PlayStation would have done it if they would have had the ability. But for Microsoft, this was just like, no. Like, we are making bank of you. Why would we remove this just so we can say Minecraft is an Xbox exclusive now? And again, the more you're thinking about it, the more you realize, yeah, PlayStation would have done that. Don't get me wrong, Xbox has its own issue. I'm not... Like, for everyone who doesn't know me and who was like, wow, he's an Xbox chill. I have an eternal grudge against Microsoft and Xbox. Because of the closure of Mixer. Like, my love for Xbox is somewhere down below, like in the dungeon. Just explaining how things work.
Into the equation as well, and now we're one of the largest
just stating
publishers on mobile platforms as well.
Well, things you
and
can
that's
see yourself.
Not something that we want to back away from. We want to continue to be building great games that millions and millions of people can love, and that they can play those games where they want to go play. But we do understand the business success that Xbox has to have. Us as leaders in this business, the system today, the system that all companies that we play video games from, is a world of you got to be growing your business. Growth in an Xbox business is critical to the long-term health of Xbox. Many people know I've been on Xbox for over 20 years, and I want to make sure Xbox is in the best position for the next 20 years. That means healthy player
when he leaves in 10 years,
community, and healthy business. So when we look at opportunities,
I mean, they're prepping up Sarah already. She's already the head of Xbox.
More people to buy, more people to subscribe. It's all about putting Xbox in the best position. And our hardware is a critical component of that. The absolute best.
Which makes sense. Sarah has been doing some very good business decisions and stuff.
And that people play on. But that's not going to be everybody. We fully accepted that we're going to have Xbox players across all kinds of devices.
So I think a lot of people think about 2023 as this incredible year for gaming. And in a lot of ways it was. There were some really amazing releases that I think we all enjoyed. But what were the signals behind the scenes that maybe indicated how we wanted to look at the future of Xbox and how we kind of keep up with the industry?
Yeah, such a good question. And I think it's...
Yeah, such a good question. You didn't prep this at all. I'm so glad that we didn't rehearse this.
Some great launches. Some of the games that I think will stand the test of time and people will be talking about a decade from now. But it's an industry that didn't really grow. And what happens when an industry doesn't grow? You end up with some job eliminations, which we had. We had even our own hard decisions to make about building a sustainable business for ourselves, but in no way were we alone in that.
I have some very strong thoughts on this one, Phil. You made a lot of money. I think you had one of your best quarters again ever in the Xbox business. A lot of those we didn't grow. We had to make some tough decisions. You all did grow. Like, this is one of those business moments where I'm like, so your PR team told you what to say, right? Which is bullshit. Like, we can see the numbers. I hate when, like, this is actually one of the things I normally hold Xbox in very high regards. They're not trying to do the marketing bullshit. Right now, he is lying. We can see the numbers. Like, it's like, oh yeah, don't look at our numbers. They don't matter. Just believe us. It's like, no. Your numbers tell us you did grow. Everyone did grow. So don't tell us the bullshit of we have to make tough decisions because we didn't grow. Please.
When you think about a healthy industry, I want players who believe that they will find the best games on the platforms that they love. I want people who invest their careers in working here to feel like this is a place that they can be successful. And that really is down to being part of an industry that is growing. If you listen to Lisa Su, the AMD CEO, she'll say that AMD-powered consoles are likely to decline in 2024. I think there's an amazing set of games coming in 2024, but if we don't get to growing as an industry, the industry will struggle. And today there's really two choices on how do you grow the industry. Do you say I have a fixed number of players, the players that we have today, and do I find new ways to monetize those players to get more money
Hey,
from the
look,
players
I
that I
said the
have?
same
Or do
thing.
you think about how do I expand the business I have by finding new players and adding those to the base of players that
I am a
already play?
messiah.
Our focus on Xbox for the last decade has really
No,
been on
again,
that latter point
business
of
101.
how do we make sure Xbox is growing for our players, growing for our creators.
I've been saying this for weeks, and people were like, what? It's just like, yeah. Do you know business?
So those people are finding success on our platform, which will grow the Xbox business and put Xbox in a position to be very strong for years and decades to come.
Matt, earlier you were talking about these growing gaming communities, how they're incredibly large and comparable on such a different level when we think about console audiences. Like you mentioned Roblox, you mentioned Fortnite. So how are we're obviously thinking about our responsibility, our hardware responsibility is supporting the growth of gaming communities. How has that actually shown up for the players? Are there other games we can speak to from our portfolio?
Well, as Phil mentioned, two of the biggest ones for us, Call of Duty and Minecraft, they are driven just from the bottom up by the communities of people that play those games, which is so great. I think about it for the player community, it comes down to where are the friends, where are the people you play with, and then equally important is where have you built up your library of games, right? Where have you invested? Where's that library? I think those two things probably are some of the biggest influences on where people choose to play and what devices they choose to play.
Yeah.
When we think about, on the other side, the developer side, just...
Wasn't there a number, and I make this number up, and I'm sorry that I bring it up because I always try to be precise in what I'm saying, but wasn't it like 43% or something even higher than that of PlayStation players only play Call of Duty and maybe FIFA, and that's their whole like game library they have? Like they are literally people who just buy a new console, new PlayStation for Call of Duty. And that's it. That's it. That's their gaming life. And you might think, casuals. No. They have thousands of hours in those games. They are like the most sweaty, hardcore COD players you can imagine, but they only play COD. Because reasons.
Any game developer wants
this is
their
why
game
PlayStation
to find
was
the
so
biggest audience possible. That's just
pissed
the nature of building a game.
when they were
Want people
afraid
to
that
enjoy
Xbox is
and
taking away
participate
Call
in
of
what you've
Duty.
made. And I think we're in a unique position to deliver on that just because we are the platform. We build hardware, we've got a first-party games group, and then we've got a system that ties that together, that brings together your friends, your progression, your achievements, all of that. And I think that's really what has contributed to the momentum behind some of these communities.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at, just step back and you look at the history of the industry, we've moved from a place where it used to be that someone built and launched a game to accelerate hardware to actually the things we do with our hardware and with our platform are all in service of making those games bigger.
And then
we
there
think
was
about
Halo.
that across all of the investments we make, the consoles we build, the investments we do with things like cross-play, cross-progression, the things that we're doing with cloud. How do we actually give more options to game creators so they can have the greatest success? I think one of the fun recent examples about this is actually Power World. Power World was able to launch, they were a game preview, they launched in Game Pass, they also simultaneously launched in Steam. And through the combination of those things, Pocket Pair
She said
was
a competition
able to have
name.
this outsized success.
Competitor name.
And it was the largest third-party Game Pass launch ever. And that's all because we give creators options on how they can launch their games. We've got subscription, we've got retail, we've got free-to-play, we've got game preview.
Don't pat yourself too much there on the back, Sarah. Because the Power Word creators have some different words for you. Like, especially when it came to patches, like how the Game Pass and Xbox version was basically like, what, a month or two behind on like a lot of things. And the reason for that was because of the cycle, right, that Xbox has to check the patches, and Power Word was just another game. And even when it became successful, and Power Word was like, Xbox, please look at our success. Please do something. And it took them again a week or two before Xbox is like, oh, wow, you are successful. Okay, we will fast track you, right? But it took Xbox also quite a while before it even made snap in their mind and they realized what power it is becoming.
We have the console,
So
we have
don't
our experience
pat
on
yourself
PC,
too much on
and
the
they can
back there.
access all of those things. And when we step back and we just look at the performance of our platform all up, we know it's working. We're at the highest level of users on console, the highest level of users on PC, the highest level of users on cloud ever. We have double-digit growth rate on PC and cloud, places where we're enabling creators to actually reach new players.
Boom. And there was the magic word. Double growth on console and PC. On cloud and PC. They didn't mention console. This was something they mentioned with Xbox Game Pass just on Xbox. Like apparently it hit a few years ago, actually. It hit a snatch in the road. And Xbox has all the interest in the world to grow other platforms.
Beyond the console ecosystem.
Sorry.
And that's why we're leaning into it and doing more, because we see all those signals.
So we're talking about the role that hardware plays for creators, for the games and those communities. What about the role that hardware plays for us as a business, for Xbox?
When we look at our hardware, it really is, and Phil said this earlier, it's where you get like the most flagship seminal experience of Xbox. And it also represents a developer target. Our developers can build the specs of our hardware, and we invest to make sure they know when they do that, that the games are going to run great on our hardware, but they're also going to be able to be accessed across any screen because of all the other investments we make.
Any
so we're
stream.
giving them an easy way to access
love
as many players as
streams.
possible. And we actually have
Streams
more
are great.
creators right now building for Xbox than ever before.
She
by
became
nature,
German
thousands
there
of
for a
them,
second.
By nature of those investments. And we got more to come. There's some exciting stuff coming out in hardware that we're going to share this holiday. And we're also invested in the next generation roadmap. And what we're really focused on there is delivering the largest technical leap you will have ever seen in a hardware generation, which makes it better for players and better for creators and the visions that they're building.
And then when we're talking about hardware too, there's these other considerations that are really important to our community, probably to each one of ourselves as well. When you talk about library, because I want to dig in on that a little bit more. You know, as we talk about cloud in the wider entertainment industry, there's conversations about streaming. How is that impacting how I own my content that I've invested in? So what can we say about our stance around game preservation?
Yeah, you know, one of the highlights for me of
Okay, this is the let's bash Sony a little bit. If you have missed it, basically Sony has been a shit face and a shit show and a dick face for just I don't give a shit if you bought something at some point. They have been removing, well, and then backpedaled very quickly when they announced that they would remove quite a bit of TV shows people paid for, not in streaming or anything, but actually paid money for on their consoles. And Sony was just like, yeah, it's gone now. And now people might only remember that, but they backpedaled, right? But what they didn't backpedal is they closed down Funimation. So if you don't care about anime, basically Crunchyroll and Funimation were basically like the big streaming platforms, or also platforms where you could buy anime. And especially Funimation was big in the USA. Sony bought all the anime streaming platforms, the smaller ones, the bigger ones. They are now the monopoly in anime streaming. Great. And they immediately utilized that by closing down Funimation. And if you are somebody who bought any anime shows on Funimation, they literally just told you to suck it because you're losing access to all your shows. You don't own them. You never owned them. And now go F yourself. That was basically their message to the people. So, welcome to the portion where they will now have a dig at PlayStation.
Of being in this position was getting to stand on stage when we announced back compat coming to Xbox One. Like, it was fantastic. People were reading the teleprompter before I could read it. I'm a slow reader, and just feeling the energy in the
Yeah.
in the.
I mean,
in
Sony
the
was always
auditorium as we were
against
saying that
playing
in.
old games.
You know, one of the cues I think us as being
right. It's this. I mean, look at The Last of Us 2. What do you mean The Last of Us 2 is getting a remaster? What? What are you smoking? I mean, there were so many things where PlayStation still has problem with this. Why would people want to go back and play their games they have already played again?
part of Microsoft take is looking at Windows and how Windows over decades has maintained software compatibility with things that are built on it. Like, I can still go back and play some of the games that I love playing on Windows from decades ago, and it will still run. And we try to bring that same
If you have the GOG
view
version of it,
to
and if you're
consoles.
lucky.
It's harder in console because
Slow
the
down
line
there,
between
Phil.
what the hardware
Slow
is
down
and what
there.
the game is in consoles is traditionally it's tighter, which makes compatibility. You end up doing these generational compatibilities that we've built. But I will say compatibility, the ability to not only play the games, but my saves are still there with our cloud save systems to try to keep the services up as long as we can so that people can play, is a tenet of what we are as Xbox. It's at our foundation. And when we look at future hardware generations and what we're going to support, making sure that we respect, which is the word I use, respect the investments that people have made in
That's
Xbox
all
going
nice
forward
and good
is fundamental.
till a
And the
new
fact that you get
person is
entitlements
taking
when you buy a
over
game from us
who
on both
doesn't
Windows
see
and
it that
Xbox
way.
also means you have the ability to play that game across a multitude of devices, which I think furthers the compatibility of the games that you own.
Mm-hmm. Can we go back to what Xbox stands for today? I think we've pretty much covered all of the elements, but if you could break it down for me.
You know, when you play on Xbox, what we're saying is you're playing on a platform where you know the biggest games in the world are always going to be.
It's funny that you're
You're playing
showcasing
on a
the
platform
games
where you
which
get
are
to
not getting
access Game
supported
Pass.
anymore, any
And
updates.
all of the games from our incredible range of studios will always launch in Game Pass day one. And you're playing on a platform that's dedicated to you, like player-first features, cross-play, cross-save, cross-progression, backwards compatibility.
Cross me, Sarah.
Being able to play your games in your library anywhere you
Wait,
want because of the
that
investments
sounds
that we make in cloud
weird.
gaming. And so you're playing somewhere where you're
take that
investing
back.
and you know you get to take the games forward with you and across all of the screens where you are. And I think most importantly, Xbox is a place where you know when you're investing in Xbox, you're investing somewhere that is dedicated to making games more successful and creators
As long as you're
more
not a
successful,
streaming platform
so that
called
they can
Mixer.
invest more to bring even better experiences to you all of the time.
Huh?
Yeah, just that investment in the studios is so, and we feel that as part of first party with the platform proximity. You know, it's kind of amazing now to look out across all the studios we've got.
I know, not a video game.
Just be reminded that we're now one of the biggest development organizations in the industry. What does that mean for players?
I'm joking.
Means that the biggest games are going to continue to come to Xbox. And this 2024, the year coming up, we've got more than 10 major releases coming up. Great stuff. Hellblade 2. We've got Diablo expansion. We've got Avowed, Ara, the Indiana Jones game. And there's more in development, which I think we're going to be able to share more about at our June showcase coming up pretty soon.
Well, I guess I should get ready to work on that.
Pretty
show.
soon, 4 months.
Well, thank you all for showing up on the podcast today, and we'll see the rest of you this June.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tina.
Thank you.
Okay, so this was a big nothing burger. To be expected. Like, again, they just hammered it into the brains of people again that this is what they have been doing for years. This has been going on since, what, 2 or 3 years into Xbox One, when Phil took over and just realized Xbox lost. And he turned it around. Like, I know that people are now looking at Phil and they are seeing like a lot of failure in him. And I'm like, nah, Phil was actually really smart when he came in and he saw Xbox One has lost the race by huge margin. And he probably knew that, well, shit, they will not change with the next Xbox. So what are we doing? And The answer is, well, multi-platform. And they have been pushing this for years. Nothing changes. Okay, 4 games are coming to other console platforms. Again, I assume it will be Grounded, Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, and what was the other one I said? Shit. What was the other one? What was 4? There was a 4th one. Doesn't click with me. Is that a 4th game? Not Starfield. Right. No. I didn't say indie. No. I said Starfield first. But that wasn't it. This is why I put Grounded in. I put Grounded in for Starfield when they said it isn't Starfield. And what was the other game? Gosh darn it. Not too important. We will see what it is in the end. But yeah, for everyone who has been watching this on YouTube, thank you so much. I know this is a little bit dry in comparison to other showcases. I mean, we knew that from the beginning, but I love this kind of shit. So doing a analysis about all of this and taking a little bit apart the PR bullshit is always something I love to do. So if you enjoyed this, please don't forget to leave a like and also subscribe to the reaction channel. I'm also running other YouTube channels here on YouTube, a little bit more bigger than this one and also more active. Check out the links down below in the video description and pick your poison. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe.